Today, we're going to unpack the hidden connection between the digital tools your company uses and how well you actually perform your job. We're diving into some really fascinating research that decodes what truly makes us tick at work. And, well, the answer might just surprise you.
I mean, it's the billion-dollar question, isn't it? We've got more apps, more software, more data than ever before. But with all this tech floating around, what's the one thing that actually pushes us to do our best? Is it really the tools we use, or is it something deeper, something inside of us?
Well, a 2023 study decided to find out. Researchers surveyed over 200 employees in industrial companies because they wanted to stop guessing. They wanted to use cold, hard data to figure out the real drivers of success in today's digital workplace.
Okay, so before we get into how everything connects, we first need to get on the same page. We've got to understand the three main building blocks the researchers were looking at. Let's break them down. First up, we have digital HRM. It's a fancy term, but it just means using technology for HR stuff. Now, the study didn't look at everything. They really focused on two big ones: digital training, for building your skills, and the digital platforms we all use for performance reviews and getting feedback.
Next, employee motivation. And the definition they used here is so important. This isn't about being afraid of your boss or just working for a paycheck. They defined it as the drive to do a job well, simply for that feeling of personal satisfaction. You can think of it as your own internal engine.
And finally, the outcome everyone cares about: job performance. The study keeps it simple. It's all about meeting the company's standards, doing what you're supposed to do, and doing it well. This is the result we're all aiming for.
So, we have our three key pieces on the board: the digital tools, our inner drive, and our final performance. Now, for the really cool part, let's look at how the researchers thought these pieces were all going to fit together.
So this right here, this is the researcher's blueprint. It's their hypothesis map. Think of it like a series of questions. Each arrow represents a proposed link, like, hey, does digital training lead to more motivation? And does that motivation then lead to better performance? This is exactly what they wanted to test.
Let's just boil that whole map down into a few simple questions. 1. Does online training actually make you more motivated? 2. Do digital performance reviews do the same thing? 3. Does being motivated really truly lead to better performance? And finally, and this is the big one, is motivation that crucial bridge that connects the tools to the results?
Okay, so the blueprint is ready. The questions are clear. Now for the exciting part. The researchers gathered all the data, crunched the numbers, and they came back with the final verdict.
This is it, the moment of truth. Did the data from all those employees actually back up their map, or was the reality something totally different?
And the answer was a huge, unmistakable yes. What you're looking at here is the final confirmed model. Their blueprint wasn't just a theory, it actually worked. Every single connection they guessed at, from the tools to motivation and from motivation to performance, it was all there, all statistically significant. And those numbers on the arrows, they tell us exactly how strong each of those connections is.
In fact, let's just focus on the single most powerful link they discovered. The path going from employee motivation straight to job performance had a strength of 0.51. Now, in a study like this, that is a really strong connection. It's basically proof that when people are motivated, they are way more likely to be top performers.
So when you look at the final scorecard, it's just a clean sweep. Did digital training boost motivation? Yep, supported. Digital appraisals boost motivation? You bet, supported. Motivation leads to better performance? Absolutely supported. And that all-important question about motivation being the bridge? Totally supported. The data couldn't have been clearer.
So, the connections are real, the model is proven, but what does this all actually mean for you, for your manager, for your company? Let's talk about the real-world takeaways here. Here is the simplest and maybe the best way to think about this. Your motivation is the engine that drives your performance. The digital HR tools, the training platforms, the review systems, they're not the engine. They're the high-octane fuel. You need that fuel to get the engine roaring, but without the engine, the fuel just sits there. So what's the practical advice? It's pretty clear. Companies should absolutely invest in these digital tools, make training easy to access, make feedback timely and transparent, but they can never, ever forget the purpose of these tools. Their number one job is to fuel that engine of motivation. If a tool doesn't make an employee feel more capable, more clued in, and more driven, then it's really just expensive noise.
And hey, don't just take it from me. The researchers themselves summed it up perfectly in their conclusion.
When you make employees more skilled through training and more aware of where they stand through feedback, you directly boost their motivation, and that motivation is what creates better job performance. It's a clear chain of events.
Ultimately, this research shows that technology can be a massive lever for improving performance, but it only works if it taps into that fundamental human desire to grow, to achieve, and to feel satisfied with our work. So the final question really isn't about what tools we should use, but how we can use them to keep that human drive right at the very heart of everything we do.